Commander Zekthor stood in the center of the great hall. His legs shook. His three eyes moved nervously across the room, looking at the hundreds of alien faces staring back at him. The Galactic Council chamber was the largest room he had ever seen. Representatives from 200 different species sat in curved rows that rose up like a giant bowl. All of them were there to hear him speak. Zekthor was a Calaxian. His people were warriors. They had conquered 43 star systems in the last 300 years. His exoskeleton was normally a bright purple color that showed his rank and victories. Today it looked dull and gray. He had not polished it in weeks. He could not bring himself to care about such things anymore. The council leader, a floating creature made of light and gas, spoke in a voice that filled the chamber. Commander Zekthor, you stand before this council to give testimony about the incident at the human colony of New Perth. You will tell us everything that happened. The council will decide if war crimes were committed. Zekthor clicked his mandibles together nervously. War crimes. They thought he was here because his people had done something wrong. They did not understand. Not yet. Honored council, he began, his voice translator working to change his clicks and chirps into galactic standard. I will tell you what happened. But you must understand something first. My people did not commit crimes against the humans. We followed the same rules we have always followed. The same rules every species in this chamber has followed. There were murmurs in the audience. Several ambassadors shifted in their seats. 6 months ago, my government decided to take action against the human colony on New Perth. The planet was in a system we claimed as our territory. The humans had settled there without permission. We asked them to leave. They refused. The council leader's light pulsed. This is known. Continue. Zekthor's voice became quieter. The council approved our mission. 17 species voted yes. 32 voted to abstain. Only 5 voted against it. It was legal. It was justified. We would teach these newcomers how the galaxy works. He remembered that day clearly, the day his fleet left Calaxian space. He had commanded 42 warships. Each ship carried 300 soldiers. His fleet was powerful enough to conquer a dozen primitive worlds. And the humans? They had only 8 defense platforms and perhaps 20 small ships. The battle would last hours at most. The humans would surrender. They would leave. Everything would return to normal. We reached New Perth on schedule, Zekthor continued. We sent them a message. We told them to evacuate the planet within 48 hours. We told them that if they did not leave, we would destroy their orbital stations and begin bombardment. We gave them time. We were being merciful. He paused. His breathing tubes flared. The humans sent us a reply. It was very short. Only 5 words. They said, "You picked the wrong species." Several council members made sounds of confusion. The council leader said, "That is all?" They did not negotiate? No, they did not ask for more time. They did not try to bargain. They did not ask to speak to our diplomats. Just those 5 words. Zekthor's legs shook harder now. He had to lock his joints to keep from falling. We thought it was bravado. Empty threats from a species that did not understand their situation. We had seen it before. Young species always think they are special. They always think they can fight against the established order. They learn. They always learn. He looked around the chamber. 48 hours passed. The humans did not leave. So we attacked. The attack had been perfect. Textbook military strategy. His ships destroyed 3 orbital platforms in the first volley. The human ships tried to fight back, but they were too small, too weak. Within 6 hours, all 8 platforms were destroyed. 14 of the human ships were debris. The remaining 6 had fled into deep space. We sent ground troops to the major cities, Zekthor said. We expected the civilian government to surrender immediately. No orbital defenses. No fleet, no hope. Every species surrenders at this point. His voice became very quiet. The entire chamber had to strain to hear him. The humans did not surrender. He remembered the first reports from the surface. His soldiers landing in the capital city. They had expected crowds of frightened humans waving white flags. Instead, they found empty streets. Then the shooting started. The humans fought us from the buildings, from underground, from places we did not expect. When we destroyed a building, they moved to another one. When we killed their soldiers, civilians picked up the weapons and continued fighting. Zekthor's 3 eyes closed. He saw it again in his mind. The bodies. So many bodies. Both human and Calaxian. We captured several humans in the first week. We questioned them. We told them their situation was hopeless. We told them to tell their leaders to surrender. Do you know what they said? The chamber was silent. They laughed. They looked at us with their two eyes and they laughed. One of them said something that our translators had trouble with. He said, "You guys really don't know who you're messing with, do you?" Zekthor opened his eyes. We did not understand. We had 42 warships. We had 12,000 soldiers on the ground. We controlled the sky. We controlled the space around the planet. How could they laugh? He moved slightly and his exoskeleton made a clicking sound that echoed in the quiet chamber. Then the human reinforcements arrived. The memory made his blood run cold even now. His fleet had detected them too late. 27 human warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel, right on the edge of the system. They were not elegant ships. They were not beautiful. They looked like pieces of metal that had been welded together with only one purpose, to kill. We tried to engage them. We moved our fleet to intercept, but the human ships did not fight the way we expected. They did not follow the normal rules of engagement. They attacked our supply ships first, then our communication relay. Then they did something we have never seen before. Zekthor looked directly at the council leader. They hacked our fleet network. In the middle of a battle, human programmers broke through our security systems. Suddenly our ships could not talk to each other. Our targeting systems were compromised. Some ships received false orders. He paused. That is when we understood our mistake. Humans are not just warriors. They are not just soldiers. They are survivors. And survivors fight with every tool they have. Every weapon. Every advantage. Every dirty trick. The council chamber remained silent. Zekthor could see the concern on many faces. Some species had started recording his testimony. Others were sending urgent messages to their homeworlds. The battle lasted for 3 days, he said. At the end, I had 29 ships left. The humans had 23. But here is what you must understand. Here is what changed everything. He stepped forward slightly. We expected the humans to accept a ceasefire. We had fought well. They had fought well. It was time to negotiate. It was time to find a diplomatic solution like civilized species. His voice cracked. The humans did not want a ceasefire. They wanted victory. Total victory. And they were just getting started. Zekthor took a moment to collect himself. His breathing tubes were working hard. He could feel every eye in the chamber watching him. The council leader gestured for him to continue. I need to explain something about my species, Zekthor said. Calaxians evolved on a peaceful world. Our predators were small. Our prey was abundant. We developed intelligence not because we needed to survive, but because we had the luxury to think. War for us is about honor.
It is about rules.
It is about knowing when you have lost and accepting defeat with dignity. He looked around the chamber. How many species here evolved the same way? How many of you come from worlds where survival was certain, where food was easy to find, where the most dangerous thing you faced was another member of your own species? Many heads nodded. Many beings showed signs of agreement. Humans are not like us, Zekthor said quietly. I did not understand this until it was too late. He remembered the files his intelligence officers had shown him. Reports about Earth, the human homeworld. At first, the reports had seemed wrong. The numbers did not make sense. Earth is a death world, he said. Do you know what that means? It is a classification for planets that are actively hostile to life. The temperature swings are extreme. The weather can kill. The geology is unstable. And the life forms, Zekthor's voice trailed off. He composed himself and continued. On Earth, almost everything is trying to kill everything else. The plants have poisons. The animals have teeth, claws, venom, and instincts for murder. Even the smallest creatures can be deadly. Humans call them bacteria and viruses. They are so small you cannot see them, but they kill millions of humans every year. Several council members made sounds of disbelief. Humans evolved on this world. They were prey animals first. Large predators hunted them. So humans learned to run. They can run for hours without stopping. No other species in the galaxy has this ability. We call it persistence hunting. A human can chase an animal until the animal dies from exhaustion. Zekthor clicked his mandibles. But humans did not stay prey. They learned to make tools. They learned to work together. They learned to hunt the hunters. Within a few thousand generations, humans went from being food to being the most dangerous predator on their planet. He paced slightly, his legs clicking on the floor. I learned all of this too late. After the battle started, my intelligence officers gave me reports about human psychology, about how their minds work. It was terrifying. The memories came flooding back, reading those reports in his command ship, feeling his confidence disappear with every page. Humans have something they call fight-or-flight response. When they face danger, their bodies flood with chemicals. These chemicals make them stronger, faster, and they feel less pain. But here's the important part. Humans can choose. They can choose to run or they can choose to fight. And humans almost always choose to fight. Sekthor stopped pacing. On New Perth, we gave them every reason to run. We destroyed their defenses. We killed their soldiers. We occupied their cities. Any reasonable species would have evacuated, would have surrendered, would have chosen to live to fight another day. His voice became stronger. But humans do not think like that. To a human, running is not survival. Running is just dying slowly. So they fight. They fight when the odds are impossible. They fight when there is no hope. They fight because fighting is what humans do. He remembered the reports from the ground forces, the confusion, the fear. His soldiers had been trained to fight other soldiers. They had not been trained to fight an entire population. Human children were setting traps for my soldiers, Sekthor said. Children, some as young as 12 Earth years. They would use their knowledge of the terrain to lead patrols into ambushes. They would hack our computer systems. They would steal supplies and weapons. He looked at the council leader. In Calaxian culture, children are sacred. We would never use children in war. But humans do not see it that way. They teach their children strategy games from birth. Games about war, games about survival, games about defeating opponents. By the time a human is 12 years old, they have played thousands of hours of these games. Several council members were making notes. Others were speaking quietly to each other. One of my officers captured a human child, Sekthor continued. A girl, perhaps 13 years old. He asked her why she was fighting, why she did not just surrender and live. Do you know what she said? The chamber was quiet. She said, "Because you attacked my home, and nobody attacks my home." Sekthor's 3 eyes looked down. Such a simple answer, but it explained everything. Humans do not fight for governments. They do not fight for resources. They fight for something deeper. They fight for their homes, for their families, for their species. And when you threaten those things, humans become unstoppable. He remembered the turning point of the ground battle. His forces had pushed into the capital city center. They had taken the government building. Victory seemed close. Then the human civilians had started their counterattack. Humans use something they call guerrilla warfare, Sekthor said. The word comes from their history. It means fighting without rules, fighting without honor, using every advantage no matter how small. His voice became bitter. My soldiers were trained for honorable combat. Stand in formation, shoot at the enemy. Advance or retreat based on the situation. But humans did not fight like that. They hid in buildings and shot from windows. They planted explosives on roads. They poisoned water supplies. They did things that no civilized species would do. He paused. No, that is wrong. They did things that no civilized species would need to do. Because we have never faced extinction. We have never needed to learn how to fight with everything we have. Sekthor looked up at the council. Then the human fleet showed us something else. After the first battle, we thought we understood human military tactics. We were wrong. He remembered the admiral of the human fleet, a woman named Martinez. She had sent him a message after the first engagement. Not a threat, not a demand, just a statement of fact. Admiral Martinez told me something, Sekthor said. She said when we did not start this war. But we will finish it. I did not understand what she meant. I thought it was just more human bravado. His voice dropped to almost a whisper, but then our scouts reported something impossible. Human ships were attacking our supply bases, our colonies, our mining operations, all across Calaxian space, simultaneous attacks, perfectly coordinated. The council chamber erupted in shocked sounds. Several representatives stood up. The council leader had to call for order. How? Someone shouted. How could they coordinate attacks across such distances? Sekthor looked at the speaker. Because while we were celebrating our victory over their orbital platforms, human intelligence was mapping our entire territory. While we were landing troops on New Perth, human hackers were stealing our military databases. While we were fighting on one planet, humans were planning a war across 50 star systems. He felt tired, so very tired. We Calaxians fight battles. We think in terms of engagements, victories, and defeats. Humans fight wars. They think in terms of campaigns, strategies, and total victory. When we attacked New Perth, we thought we were teaching them a lesson. We did not realize we were starting a war we could not win. The silence in the chamber was complete. Zekthor looked around at all the alien faces. They were starting to understand, starting to see the truth, but they did not know the worst parts yet. Those would come later in his testimony. The council leader called for a brief recess. Zekthor stood alone in the center of the chamber, drinking water and trying to calm his nerves. Several council members approached him during the break. They asked questions. They wanted to know details. He answered mechanically, his mind still trapped in the memories of those terrible weeks. When the session resumed, Zekthor felt even worse. His exoskeleton ached, his eyes burned. But he had to continue. The galaxy needed to know the truth. The human counterattack began on the 15th day, he said. We controlled New Perth. We had forced the human fleet to retreat. We were consolidating our position and preparing to negotiate from strength. Everything was going according to our plan. He paused. Except humans do not care about our plans. Zekthor remembered the moment everything changed. He had been in his command ship reviewing reports. Then the alarm started. Every alarm. All at once. 23 Calaxian military installations were attacked simultaneously, he said. Supply depots, fuel refineries, weapons factories, communication hubs, ship repair stations, all across our empire, all at the same time. The chamber filled with whispered conversations. The council leader raised a tentacle for silence. At first we thought it was impossible, Zekthor continued. Our military bases were spread across 20 light years. The coordination required for such an attack should have taken months to plan. Months we did not give them. He clicked his mandibles bitterly. But humans had been planning since the moment we sent our first message to New Perth. While we were preparing our fleet, they were preparing their war. Zekthor pulled up a holographic display. It showed Calaxian space with red markers showing the attacked locations. Look at this pattern. Look at what they targeted. They did not attack our military fleet directly. They attacked our ability to sustain our fleet. He highlighted several points. This fuel depot supplied 30% of our navy. This communication hub coordinated fleet movements across 3 sectors. This repair station was the only facility capable of fixing our capital ships. Humans did not just attack us. They studied us. They learned our weaknesses. Then they cut out our heart. The display showed more data. Ship movements. Supply chains. Communication networks. All of it compromised. Within 4 days, our fleet at New Perth was running low on ammunition, Zekthor said. Within 7 days, we had no replacement parts for damaged ships. Within 10 days, we could not communicate with our homeworld without using civilian networks that humans could intercept. He looked at the council. Do you understand what this means? Humans spent less than 2 weeks destroying military infrastructure that took us centuries to build. Zekthor changed the display to show battle footage, grainy images of human ships attacking Calaxian installations. Watch how they fight. Watch their tactics. The footage showed a human destroyer attacking a Calaxian supply convoy. The human ship did not engage the military escorts. Instead, it fired on the cargo ships, destroying supplies worth millions of credits. When the escorts moved to intercept, the human ship ran. It did not fight. It just completed its mission and left. Humans do not care about honor in battle, Zekthor said. They care about results. If running away achieves their goal, they run. If fighting achieves their goal, they fight. They have no ego about it. No shame. He showed more footage. Human Marines boarding a Calaxian station. Here, watch this. These are human soldiers taking one of our communication bases. The footage was brutal. Human soldiers moved through corridors in small groups. They used grenades, automatic weapons, and explosive charges. They did not try to capture the station intact. They just destroyed everything important and left. They were in and out in 11 minutes, Zekthor said. 11 minutes. And in that time, they destroyed equipment that would take us 8 months to replace. He turned off the display, but the attacks were just the beginning. Humans did something else. Something we never expected. Zekthor's voice became hollow. They used psychological warfare. The council members looked confused. Several asked what that term meant. Psychological warfare is fighting against the enemy's mind, Zekthor explained. Humans did not just want to defeat our military. They wanted to defeat our will to fight. He described how human ships would broadcast footage of successful attacks across all frequencies, how human hackers would break into Calaxian civilian networks and show battle reports, how human propaganda specialists would analyze Calaxian psychology and create messages designed to spread fear. They made videos showing our ships being destroyed, Zekthor said. They showed our soldiers surrendering. They showed our leaders looking confused and defeated. Then they broadcast these videos to every Calaxian world. His voice shook. They even sent messages directly to our soldiers' personal communicators. Messages like, "Your government sent you to die. Your families think you are winning, but you are losing. Go home while you still can." Several council members looked disturbed. This kind of warfare was unknown to most species. It worked, Zekthor said simply. After 2 weeks, morale in our fleet collapsed. Soldiers stopped trusting their officers. Officers stopped trusting command. Everyone was afraid. Everyone wanted to go home. He remembered the meeting with his senior staff. 3 admirals and 7 ship commanders. They had all agreed. The war was unwinnable. I sent a message to human command, Zekthor said. I requested a ceasefire. I offered to withdraw from New Perth. I thought surely humans would agree. We had fought well. They had fought well. It was time for diplomacy. His 3 eyes closed. Admiral Martinez responded within an hour. She said no. The chamber was silent. She did not just say no, Zekthor continued. She sent me a document, a human military doctrine called Proportional Response +1. It means that humans will always respond to aggression with slightly more force than was used against them. Always one level higher. Always escalating, he opened his eyes. We killed 2,000 human civilians in our bombardment of New Perth. Martinez told me that she would consider a ceasefire after Calaxian civilian casualties reached 2001. Shocked sounds filled the chamber. Several representatives protested. The council leader called for order again. I protested too, Zekthor said. I told her that such a demand was barbaric, that civilized species do not target civilians. Do you know what she said? He looked at the council leader. She said, "You should have thought of that before you killed ours." Zekthor's voice became very quiet. That is when I understood. Humans have rules. They have laws. They have honor. But if you break their rules first, they will abandon all of them. They will become as brutal as necessary to win. He described the next phase of the war. Human attacks on Calaxian colonies. Not military bases, colonies, civilian populations. They did not kill civilians, Zekthor said quickly. But they destroyed infrastructure. Power plants. Water treatment facilities. Food production centers. They made life impossible without actually killing anyone. He looked around the chamber. Can you see how clever this is? They did not commit war crimes. They did not violate galactic law. They just made millions of Calaxians suffer. And every day those Calaxians called our government demanding that the war end. Zekthor's legs almost gave out. He locked his joints and forced himself to stay upright. Within 3 weeks, the Calaxian Empire had lost more ships than in 300 years of conquest. We had lost critical infrastructure. We had lost our people's trust. We had lost our confidence. He looked directly at the council leader, and humans had barely started fighting. They had not used their nuclear weapons. They had not deployed their biological warfare divisions. They had not activated their full military reserves. Martinez told me that everything I had seen was just the opening move in a human war. His voice broke. She said that if we did not surrender, she would show me what humans do when they stop being nice. When they stop holding back. When they fight a real war. Zekthor stood in silence for a moment. Then he said the words that still haunted him. I believed her. I surrendered. Not because we could not keep fighting, but because I was afraid of what would happen if we did. The council chamber remained silent for a long moment after Zekthor's last statement. Finally, a representative from the Quelon species stood up. The Quelon were known as warriors themselves. They had fought wars across the galaxy for centuries. Commander Zekthor, the Quelon said, his voice booming. My people have reviewed the battle reports. The Calaxian Empire is one of the strongest military powers in the galaxy. You had superior numbers, superior technology, and superior position. How did you lose to a species that has been in space for less than 100 years? Zekthor looked at the Quilon warrior. Because humans are not like us, any of us. And I did not understand this until it was too late. He gestured for a medical display to appear. With the council's permission, I would like to show you something. Something that I did not believe until I saw it with my own eyes. The council leader gave permission. Zekthor pulled up medical files captured from human databases. This is a human soldier, he said, showing a medical scan. This soldier was wounded in combat on New Perth. He took 3 plasma shots to his torso. Any one of these shots would have killed a Calaxian instantly. Our exoskeletons crack. Our organs rupture. We die within seconds. He zoomed in on the scan. Look at this human. 3 shots. Massive tissue damage. Internal bleeding. Severe burns. According to our medical understanding, he should be dead. Zekthor changed the image. This is the same human 10 minutes later. Still fighting. Still shooting at my soldiers. Still moving and thinking and killing. Shocked sounds filled the chamber. Several medical specialists in the audience stood up to get a better look. How? Someone asked. Humans call it adrenaline, Zekthor explained. It is a chemical their bodies produce in response to danger. It increases their strength. It reduces pain. It keeps them functional even when they should be dead. He showed more medical files. This human soldier continued fighting for 37 minutes after receiving his wounds. He killed 6 of my soldiers during that time. He only stopped when he physically could not move anymore, and even then he survived. Human medics saved him. Zekthor looked around the chamber. Do you understand? A human can take damage that would kill any of us and continue fighting, not for seconds, for minutes. Sometimes for hours. He pulled up more files. Here is another case. A human pilot. His ship was hit. The cockpit lost pressure. The temperature dropped to near absolute zero. He had no heat, no oxygen. By all logic, he should have died immediately. The image showed a human in a damaged cockpit, frost covering his face. He survived for 14 minutes. 14 minutes in hard vacuum and extreme cold. When rescue ships found him, he was clinically dead. His heart had stopped. His brain had no oxygen. Zekthor paused. Human medics brought him back to life. They restarted his heart. They warmed his body. They oxygenated his blood. 6 weeks later, he was flying missions again. The chamber erupted in disbelief. Several medical specialists were arguing that such a thing was impossible. I did not believe it either, Zekthor said. So I studied human biology. I learned things that terrified me. He brought up a comparison chart showing human biology versus other galactic species. Humans have redundant systems. 2 lungs. 2 kidneys. They can lose one and survive. They have a liver that can regenerate. If you cut out half of a human liver, it grows back. More shocked reactions from the audience. Their bones can break and heal stronger than before, Zekthor continued. Their muscles tear and rebuild larger. Their skin scars and becomes tougher. Humans are not just resilient. They become stronger through damage. He showed images of human evolution. This is because humans evolved on a death world. Everything on Earth is trying to kill everything else. Humans developed these traits because the weak ones died. The strong ones survived and passed on their genes. For millions of years, Earth selected for the most resilient, most adaptable, most unkillable humans. Zekthor changed the display to show psychological data. But physical resilience is not the most frightening thing about humans. The most frightening thing is their minds. He pulled up case studies from human military records. Humans suffer psychological damage from combat. They call it post-traumatic stress disorder. It is a condition where the mind is injured by the horrors of war. Several council members nodded. Most species experience similar problems. But here is what makes humans different, Zekthor said. Most species who develop this condition die. The psychological damage is too severe. The mind breaks and cannot be repaired. He showed human medical facilities. Humans have created an entire system to repair broken minds. They have therapy. They have medication. They have support groups. They have programs designed to help damaged soldiers return to normal life. Zekthor's voice became hollow. In Calaxian society, a warrior who experiences true trauma simply dies. Our minds are not built to handle the stress. We do not have the adaptability to recover. But humans, they recover, they heal, and many of them go back to war. He showed statistics. 30% of human combat veterans return for second deployments. 10% serve 3 or more deployments. Some humans spend decades at war. The council chamber was silent. Everyone was trying to process this information. I spoke to a human prisoner, Zekthor said quietly, a young man perhaps 25 Earth years old. He had been fighting for 7 years. 7 years of combat. I asked him why he kept fighting. Why he did not just refuse to go back to war. Zekthor's 3 eyes looked down. He told me that someone had to do it. That someone had to protect his people. That someone had to stand between his home and danger. And if not him, then who? He looked up at the council. That is what humans believe. That is what makes them dangerous. They see war not as an adventure or a way to gain honor. They see it as a job. A terrible necessary job that someone has to do. Zekthor pulled up more data. Humans have studied war for their entire history. They have analyzed every battle, every strategy, every tactic. They have written millions of pages about how to fight, how to win, how to survive. He showed human military academies. They train their soldiers for years. Not just physical training, mental training, psychological training. They teach humans how to function under stress, how to make decisions under fire, how to stay calm when everyone around them is dying. The display showed human training exercises, soldiers running through obstacle courses while instructors shot at them with non-lethal rounds, pilots flying simulators through impossible scenarios, Marines practicing room-clearing operations thousands of times until it became automatic. Humans practice war, Zekthor said. Other species prepare for war. Humans practice it, over and over, until every movement is instinct, until every decision is automatic, until they can fight while wounded, exhausted, terrified, and still win. He showed footage from New Perth, human civilians helping wounded soldiers, human children carrying ammunition, human elderly providing intelligence about Galaxian troop movements. But the most dangerous thing about humans is not their soldiers, Zekthor said. It is their unity. When humans are threatened, they do not divide. They do not argue about politics or religion or resources. They come together. He showed images of human society mobilizing for war, factories converting to weapons production, scientists developing new technology, civilians volunteering for military service. In 3 weeks, human industrial output increased by 40%, Zekthor said. They stopped making consumer goods and started making weapons. They stopped thinking about peace and started thinking about victory. His voice became very quiet. I reported all of this to my government. I told them that humans were different, that we needed to sue for peace immediately. Do you know what they said? Zekthor looked at the council leader. They said I was being dramatic, that I was letting fear cloud my judgment, that humans were just another primitive species that needed to learn their place. He paused. They were wrong, and by the time they realized it, the war was already over. Zekthor stood in the center of the chamber, feeling the weight of 200 species watching him. He was near the end of his testimony. Soon he would tell them the final truth, the one that kept him awake at night. The war lasted 5 weeks, he said. 5 weeks from the first shot to our unconditional surrender. The Galaxian Empire had existed for 800 years. We had conquered 43 star systems. We had a fleet of 300 warships and an army of 2 million soldiers. He paused. Humans defeated us in 5 weeks, the council leader spoke. Tell us about the surrender, Commander. Zekthor's legs clicked nervously on the floor. I sent the surrender message on day 34 of the conflict. By that point, we had lost 103 warships. We had lost 18 military bases. We had lost 47% of our industrial capacity, and most importantly, we had lost our will to fight. He brought up the final battle statistics. The human fleet had grown to 68 ships. They had somehow built 41 new warships in 5 weeks. 41 ships. Do you understand what that means? Humans have an industrial capacity that rivals the entire Galaxian Empire. Several council members were frantically taking notes. Admiral Martinez accepted our surrender, Zekthor continued, but she did not do so gracefully. She did not show mercy. She dictated terms. He pulled up the treaty document. It appeared in the air above him, dozens of pages long. These are the terms of our surrender. The Galaxian Empire agreed to all of them because we had no choice. Zekthor highlighted the first section. Article 1. The Galaxian Empire recognizes human sovereignty over New Perth and 17 other contested star systems. We gave them the territory they originally settled, plus 16 more systems as compensation. He moved to the next section. Article 2. The Galaxian Empire will pay war reparations totaling 8 trillion credits over the next 20 years. This represents approximately 15% of our annual economic output. Several council members gasped at the number. Article 3, Sekthor continued. The Galaxian Empire grants humanity access to all Galaxian military technology, scientific research, and historical databases. We gave them everything. Every secret, every innovation, every tactical doctrine we developed over 8 centuries. He looked around the chamber. Do you see what this means? Humans went to war with inferior technology. Now they have access to some of the most advanced technology in the galaxy, and they will study it. They will improve it. They will make it their own. Sekthor moved to another section. Article 4. The Galaxian Empire recognizes humanity's right to a permanent seat on the Galactic Council, with full voting privileges and security guarantees. The chamber erupted. Representatives stood up shouting protests. The council leader had to call for order multiple times. This is what I came here to tell you, Sekthor said loudly, speaking over the noise. This is why I stand before this council. Not to confess war crimes, not to apologize, but to warn you. The chamber slowly quieted. Humanity demanded a council seat, Sekthor said. Not as a request, not as a negotiation, as a requirement for peace. Admiral Martinez told me something I will never forget. She said, "What we tried asking politely. We tried following your rules. We tried being patient. You attacked us. Now we are done asking." He looked at each council member in turn. Humans are offering the galaxy one chance, one opportunity to accept them as equals, not as subordinates, not as newcomers, as equals. Sekthor's voice became harder. If the galaxy refuses, humans will take what they want. They proved they can defeat a major military power. They proved they can outproduce our industries. They proved they can outthink our strategists. And they are just getting started. He pulled up human population statistics. Humanity has 7 billion people on Earth. They have established 63 colonies across 22 star systems. Their population is growing by 3% per year. In 50 years, humans will number 20 billion. The implications hung in the air. But population is not the most concerning thing, Sekthor said. The most concerning thing is human learning. Every battle teaches them something. Every conflict makes them smarter. Every enemy gives them new ideas. He showed battle analysis reports. Human military analysts studied our tactics. They found our weaknesses. They developed counters. Then they wrote everything down. They created training manuals. They built simulators. They taught every human soldier how to fight Galaxians. Sekthor changed the display. Now they are doing the same thing for every species in the galaxy. Human intelligence has compiled files on all of you. They have analyzed your military capabilities. They have identified your weaknesses. They have developed battle plans. Shocked silence filled the chamber. I have seen these files, Sekthor said. The humans showed them to me as part of our surrender negotiations. They wanted me to understand something. They are prepared to fight anyone, everyone, the entire galaxy if necessary. He pulled up a specific document. This is the human military doctrine called overwhelming deterrence. The principle is simple. Be so strong that no one dares to attack you. Have such powerful weapons and such skilled soldiers that war becomes unthinkable. Sekthor looked at the council leader. Humans are not pacifists. They do not believe in peace through weakness. They believe in peace through strength. They will be friendly, cooperative, and respectful to species that treat them as equals, but they will utterly destroy any species that threatens them. He deactivated the displays. I have one more thing to show you. Something I found in every human city, every human ship, every human home. An image appeared, simple words in English translated into Galactic Standard. 4 words. Never again means never. This is the human promise, Sekthor said quietly. Never again will they be victims. Never again will they be helpless. Never again will they allow others to threaten their survival. And they mean it. With every fiber of their being, they mean it. He looked around the chamber. Humans remember their history. They remember when they were divided. When they fought each other. When they nearly destroyed themselves with nuclear weapons. They remember the horrors of their world wars, their genocides, their atrocities. His voice became softer, and they decided never again. They unified. They went to space. They built a society dedicated to preventing extinction. Everything they do, everything they build, everything they fight for is about survival. Zekthor's three eyes looked at each council member. So here is my warning. Here is what I came to tell you. Humanity is offering peace. They are offering cooperation. They are offering to join the galactic community as partners. He paused. Accept their offer. Because the alternative is a war you cannot win. A war that will cost millions of lives. A war that will end with humans controlling the galaxy, not because they want to, but because you forced them to. The chamber was completely silent. Zekthor could see fear on many faces, understanding on others. Some representatives looked angry. Some looked thoughtful. All of them looked concerned. The vote on Humanity's Council membership is scheduled for tomorrow, Zekthor said. I recommend that every species vote yes. Not because humans deserve it, but because humanity has earned it. They earned it by defeating us, by proving they can fight and win, by showing that they are not prey, not subordinates, not inferiors. He took a deep breath. They are survivors, and in the end, survival is the only thing that matters. Zekthor finished his testimony with one final statement. I fought humans. I lost, I surrendered, and now I live with the knowledge that my species started a war we could not finish. Do not make the same mistake. Do not test humanity's patience. Do not assume they are weak. Do not think you can defeat them. His voice dropped to a whisper that somehow carried through the entire chamber. Because if you do, you will learn what I learned. You will feel what I felt. You will understand what it means to fight humans in war. He looked up at the council leader. And by then it will be too late. The council leader nodded slowly. Thank you, Commander Zekthor. Your testimony is complete. This council will adjourn until tomorrow, when we will vote on the question of human membership. As Zekthor left the chamber, he heard the representatives beginning to argue. Some wanted to accept humans immediately. Some wanted to reject them. Some wanted more time to think. But Zekthor knew the truth. The vote tomorrow was not about whether to let humans join the council. It was about whether the galaxy would accept the new reality. Humanity was here to stay. And nothing in the galaxy could stop them. He walked through the corridors of the council building, his legs clicking on the polished floor. Tomorrow the galaxy would make a choice, and Zekthor prayed they would choose wisely, because he had seen what humans do when cornered. He had seen their determination, their resilience, their absolute refusal to accept defeat, and he never wanted to see it again.